causing widespread destruction. The Air Defense Force has released a statement saying this violent attack was carried out by drones. They speculate the drones were secretly transported to Osea in shipping containers and launched remotely. The Secretary of the Navy has stated that the enemy was targeting naval ports across the country. According to the Secretary, all of the nation's aircraft carriers, including one still under construction, sustained severe damage in the attacks. We have yet to hear back from the department as to the fate of Osean carriers currently at sea. Hold on, I've just received breaking news. The International Space Elevator, which is being built in southern Usea, has been seized by the Erusian army. Reports say former President Harling was touring the site at the time, but his current whereabouts are unknown. Our sources in government tell us it was Harling's policies regarding the space elevator that caused economic frictions in the area, and which ultimately led to this war. Located near Erusia, on the continent of Usea, the space elevator has been under construction for some time now. The Executive Office of the Osean Federation has declared a national state of emergency. They have ordered all its armed forces, including Usean peacekeepers, to mobilize and make the necessary preparations to launch an immediate counterattack. Ladies and gentlemen, our country is officially at war. Stay tuned for further updates.
Breaking news from ENN. Osea launched an attack on the capital today, striking Farbanti from their aircraft carrier, the Kestrel II. After a brutal battle, the Erusian Air Force successfully repelled them. During the air raid, the Osean Air Force fired missiles at the city and managed to shoot down a number of Erusian fighters. Some of the disabled planes then crashed into residential areas.
The world was screwed. 20 years ago, the Earth got slammed by an asteroid. Usea was on the wrong side of the planet and got hit. Hard. Refugees swarmed the Erusian Republic, the biggest country on the continent, plunging it into chaos. They were desperate and started a war, one they had no hope of winning. That's the war my dad fought and died in. The biggest nations from 2 continents went head-to-head, and the so-called righteous Oseans struck the deal that ended it. They fancied themselves the only nation that could bring peace and stability to the world. They even tried saving the Useans, still suffering from the disaster. That's how a space elevator, stretching way up into the sky, ended up being built in Usea, paid for by the Oseans. President Harling said he did it out of compassion for his fellow humans. But to the folks in Erusia, it looked like Osea was moving in to take over. Erusia went from being a republic back to being a kingdom. When they started this new war, they managed to get the drop on everyone. The second the declaration hit the news, Erusian forces took control of the space elevator without spilling a single drop of blood. President Harling was touring the elevator when it happened and disappeared. Then, while that was going on, the Erusian ships that were docked all around Osea released a swarm of drone fighters they had hidden on board in containers. No one thought they were capable of doing what they did that day. With pinpoint accuracy, they managed to take out everything that was military, and not a single civilian was hurt in the process. Osea pissed lots of people off with their huge military presence around the world. Erusia didn't have the same reach, but they could hit their targets faster and cleaner. And when all this was going down, I just so happened to be in my flying drag racer. In case you were wondering, yeah, I survived. I crashed in a bombed-out Osean Air Force base, then got arrested for breaking wartime aviation laws or some crap. The world went from being at peace to being at war, all in the blink of an eye.
I am Princess Rosa Cassette Delise of the Kingdom of Erusia. Today, Osean airstrikes have shattered the lives of countless Erusians. Their attacks practically leveled the school I went to. It is heartbreaking.
I was tried, found guilty, and stuffed into a cargo ship. For company, I had some court-martialed soldiers, And remember those mothballed planes I told you about before? They were loaded on the ship too. We headed off down south for several days, and then swung east. That's how I got here. I was thousands of kilometers from Erusia, on the opposite side of the Yuzian continent. For a port, it was dull as hell. It had 3 rusty patrol boats, and the base? The fences were topped with razor wire, the tower had a searchlight and machine guns, and a truck with a gun turret was parked in front of the gate. Its gun was aimed at the yard. This was a prison. This place looked like a full-on base, but half the tanker trucks were just big balloons, and the runways weren't even paved, just painted on the dirt. The whole place was just one big fat lie. The only reason I was here is because they knew I'd restored a supersonic plane. They wanted me to make something out of the mothball.
Is muted.
I'm aware. Nothing.
planes they brought, that they could park on the fake runway. Can you believe that shit? So, I tried to escape. They found out and set the dogs on me.
They set the dogs on me. Oh shit.
Erusia has made a declaration to the Ocean Federation and all countries on the Usian continent stationing the IUN peacekeeping force that we are now at war. Right after the declaration was made, surprise attacks began around the continent that have inflicted major damage to our armed forces. Forces aligned with Erusia are currently appearing throughout Usia. The combination of these forces has overwhelmed the majority of the continent, and they are now encroaching on us in the east. Additionally, the multinational space elevator has been seized by the Erusian military. After the previous war, the space elevator became both a symbol of peace and a valuable asset in the fight against growing energy concerns. Whoever has control of it will have enormous influence over the entire continent. We cannot turn a blind eye to this critical situation. The Fort Gray's Air Base Squadron has been entered into the order of battle to reclaim the elevator as an advanced element. First, you will attack all hostiles coming in the east of Schofield Plateau to stop any interference with the Allied ground troops. The enemy has deployed several vehicles equipped with anti-air radar along the roads. You are to destroy them. They should not pose much of a threat. However, there is a high likelihood that the attack will draw more enemy air support. If that happens, fight them off swiftly and establish air superiority.
Squadron returning base F. target is on rails. There's still military vehicles and anti-air weaponry. Destroy the target. But HQ has made it clear that no harm should come to civilians and no damage is to be done to public facilities.
But, any aircraft shot down could land in civilian territory.
No point arguing. That's how war is these days.
Do you have visual on the anti-air radar vehicles? They should be close.
Right, how do I... What's the controls again? I can't see.
Yep.
It's popping off now, Trigger. War has officially begun. Target destroyed. 5 to go.
Get the fighters out there! Take the radar vehicle! We're using the containers now. Those weapons are meant for tactical flexibility. What's the position on the vehicle? We can't wait any longer. We need interceptors now.
Target destroyed. 3 to go. Continue to engage at your discretion. Enemy interceptors inbound. Prepare to engage in 30 seconds.
Wilco, here they come. Take them down. Okay, recruits. Pay attention to who's on what side. The newest IFF is connected to our entire force via satellites. It's reliable, so trust your radars.
2 targets remaining.
Trigger, there's one more to go.
That was the last radar vehicle. Great work. Radar vehicle's destroyed, but the interceptor shows no sign of retreating. Take it out. Continue with the mission. Crush as many as you can.
Enemy transports are taxiing.
Not glued to this one. No, they're not linked to the radar vehicle. Launch back. The clouds don't just affect your field of vision. They also mess with your HUD and radar. The Seekers can sometimes lose their lock onto their targets, too.
Enemy will crash in a residential area.
Just worry about staying alive for now.
The enemy has a lock on you, HQ. Target is hit.
Enemy transport destroyed. There's more.
H2, missile launch. 5 targets remaining.
All transports have been destroyed.
All right, this base is worth destroying. 4 targets remaining.
Huh?
Got you now. Firing.
Enemy behind you.
Why don't they withdraw? What? They gonna bring their buddies back from the dead?
Who's fucking target. I know where the fucking things are I can destroy, but oh, there's one.
Fox 2! Fox 2! Heads up! Bandit behind you! Missile inbound! Evade! Missile incoming! Frank!
3 targets remaining.
Enemies locked on! Missiles right now!
H2, Fox 2.
Launch preparations complete. Focus on free. Whenever you're ready. Stand clear, 15 meters. UAVs ready to launch. Away.
Oh, what the fuck are those? What the fuck?
Status report.
What the fuck are
Enemies on
those?
radar. They're close.
No, like, launched out fucking jets.
You're clear to engage. They're probably hostile.
Judging by the way they look and move, they gotta be some drones. Spotted clouds, no doubt about it.
Oh!
UAVs.
I
But
hit
that
the
doesn't change a
ew.
thing. Just think of them as somewhat clever
That hurt.
decoys. Take them all down.
Thank God I turned on reduced
These drones
damage.
have great agility. All aircraft. You know what high G turns are, right? Use them. HQ, this is Column 1. Bandits confirmed as UAVs. Repeat, bandits are drones. Column 1, that doesn't matter. Destroy all enemy fighters and get out. It doesn't matter. He's saying the war can change in an instant. Get over it. Yeah, I just wish they'd give us a bit more warning.
H2, walking.
He escaped into the clouds. Enemy UAV confirmed destroyed. Hell yeah. Golem Squadron, you're not gonna let Mage get all the glory, are ya?
3 enemies to go.
Don't try to read their movements.
They're rising up.
They shoot like hiding in stuff clouds.
Fox 2.
I'm buying dinner for anyone who takes down an enemy.
Where's a bar I want to try?
You're doing good. Just 2 more.
I'm getting a warning.
Get out of the clouds, the ice will melt. H2, enemy has a radar lock on you. I'm in his blind spot, he's mine. H2, missile inbound! Locked on, baby. Golem 2, the enemy's reading.
Motherfuckers are following me.
I've maneuvered behind the enemy. They have a lock on you, shake 'em. Clouds are screwing up the accuracy.
1 to go. Let's get through this without any casualties. Missile evaded.
Fuck these drones.
Careful of ice formation in the clouds.
Yes, I know ice formation in the
Missile
clouds.
launched.
Get over the clouds.
So, drones don't do the cheap force, huh? On his tail.
Nice work, everyone. Mission complete. RTP.
No casualties. We couldn't have done any
Make
better.
yourself a chick.
Returning to base.
I don't know. Maybe the bandits mentioned didn't cause civilian casualties.
Sorry.
Wouldn't argue with that's how warriors these days. You shoot, someone gets killed.
Like the Battlefield 5.
The guys in charge take care of the rest.
It's like one minute you're a fucking black dude, and the other guy
Right.
you're a fucking Asian guy, and then you're a fucking shit.
Current target is on rails. There's still military vehicles and anti-air weaponry. Destroy the target. But HQ has made it clear that no harm should come to civilians and no damage is to be done to public facilities.
But, any aircraft shot down could land in civilian territory.
No point arguing. That's how war is these days.
Do you have visual on the anti-air radar vehicles? They should be close.
F-22 after.
F-16. I like how at the end of it you can fucking do this.
It's popping off now, Trigger. War has officially begun.
Target destroyed. 5 to go.
Get the fighters out there. Attack the radar vehicle. We're using the containers now. Those weapons are meant for tactical flexibility. Request a position on the vehicle. We can't wait any longer. We need the interceptors now.
Huh?
Target destroyed. 3 to go. Continue to engage at your discretion. Enemy interceptors inbound.
Okay, what'd you say?
What, are you just watching yourself replay that in third person?
Yeah, and then you can like control the camera.
You've given us air superiority by destroying their radar. The first barrier keeping us from retaking the space elevator is gone. Now is the time to
And then
group
it
up
shows
and begin
you
the
the
counteroffensive.
fucking
Let us
what
reclaim
you
what is
did
ours.
afterwards in like a little graph. Kind of cool.
Oh, that looks fucking sick.
What, the graph?
Little line thing.
Yeah. Excuse me.
The surprise attacks carried out after the declaration of war saw the peacekeeping forces of various countries, including Osea, suffer major damage. The ships moored around the space elevator and near Gandar Bay have been hit particularly hard. Numerous ships have been sunk and abandoned. Fortunately, our cutting-edge aircraft carrier, Kestrel 2, was at sea, so it was spared from the attack. Kestrel 2 is now preparing to launch another attack against Erusia's capital, Farbanti. The aircraft carrier Vulture also managed to escape Gandar Bay safely. However, it lost all its aircraft, so it's sailing empty. Today, the International Union Peacekeeping Force reclaims its bid to the space elevator. The Fort Gray's Island Air Base Squadron will rendezvous with the carrier Vulture for a joint mission. The first objective will be to seize air superiority in Choppenberg in order to secure a round of support
Choppenberg.
squadrons. The enemy maintains air superiority over Choppenberg, so expect heavy resistance from enemy aircraft. There's more, so listen carefully. Right from the start of the war, the enemy has been deploying drones. They're using a new, advanced type of drone. The unmanned airborne aircraft carrier, the Arsenalberg, carries this new drone, MQ-101. The Ocean Army headed up the development of the massive Arsenalbergs and dispatched them to the space elevator to provide support. However, it's been reported that the carriers may have fallen into the hands of the Erusian forces. If that's true, it could be a significant obstacle for us. We We need to regain control of the space elevator ASAP. Good luck out there.
Damn, there's an F4F. Or F4E, 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 F16. Oh, damn.
Oh.
Squadron aircraft preparations complete.
Refueling initiated. Maintain your current position. 100. Trigger, maintain your current approach. 15. Excellent work, Trigger.
That's cool too, because that's actually how they refill jets in the sky.
Mage Squadron, this is the situation. Gollum and the other bases squadrons already joined forces and are engaged. You guys will arrive right in the middle of the action. Mage Squadron, eliminate all bandits in the current airspace. We have the upper hand, but that doesn't mean we can ease up. Good luck.
Mage 1, Wilco. Mage 1 to Column 1, thank your lucky stars. Looking good, Mage Squadron. Keep up that pressure. Trigger time to show the other guys how to wet wild and do dirty, dirty things. Once you hit one of them, stick to them like glue. Don't let them out of your sights, even in the clouds. And so, your first hunting season begins.
fuck, you can hear when the missiles just go by like you.
Attacking from behind my target. Shooting from the radar. Headed to the clouds.
4 remaining. Page 2, missile away.
Page 2, they have a lock on you.
Missile. Missile.
Nice kill.
1 remaining.
Looks like they weren't ready for a fight.
Our radar shows no sign of bandits. You're in the clear.
I haven't even broken a sweat. Missile incoming. Evade. Break.
What the hell?
Caution, missile!
Caution! A large aircraft is approaching. All aircraft stay alert.
Oh, how did that help? What the fuck is that?
We just learned that Eruzia is utilizing the arsenal. Those bastards. They had that thing combat ready this whole time.
Enemy has a radar lock! Break, now!
Just waiting for mission command.
We'll live through this, Trigger. These guys are definitely a step above the last drones. These guys gonna do this easy.
All aircraft, no change in game plan. Destroy the arsenal bird.
Gold Squadron, take out Big Baby Huey.
Bandits are fast as hell!
Down. Skeleton 1 lost. Skeleton 2, take over command.
Gargoyle Squadron, Gargoyle 1.
too many losses. All squadrons, command has ordered a complete withdrawal. Leave the operation area immediately. Save your chatter for the debriefing. Golem and Mage Squadron, give our allies some time to escape.
Bucko, but Golem 2's hit. Gotta send her back. Let's get dirty, Trigger.
Shoot down those UAVs. Don't let them touch any friendlies.
Golem 2, head back to base.
Gargoyle 1, escort Golem 2.
Oh, it's fun.
Continuing the mission. Still got my wings. Trigger doesn't need to feel anything. I'm back 9-9.
Won't make any difference out here. Get back to base and cool your head.
Copy that. Returning home.
Mage Squadron, you're going toe-to-toe with the UAVs. Good work.
This is getting a little tight.
Mage 2, missile launch. Retreating aircraft, leave the AO. Allies will hold off pursuit. Golem Squadron, Mage Squadron, hang in there and come back safe.
Yowza. That boy, Mage 2. Just keep firing. Golem 3, Fox 2. Wonder tech slippers are hard to get it out of your arm. Machines don't get tired. That's it, Trigger. They're machines. Don't show any mercy.
More UAVs spotted. Gargoyle Squadron, they might cut off your retreat.
My status is fine.
Retreating aircrafts, prepare for combat. It's a bogey. Gargoyle 1, Golem 2, engage now. Attack.
Gargoyle 1. Caution! Missile! Skykeeper. Gargoyle 1 lost.
What the hell? Golem 2, status report. Just talk to me.
I'm against MSU-30. Twin tips. I can't shake it off. It's matching me move for move.
Golem 2, stop dogfighting and run.
Get your asses out. An ally's hit. Golem and Mage, move in to provide support.
Let's move. They're ours.
Target is in range of guns. Mage 2, UAV down. Keep it up, buddy.
I don't get it. Why is that opening fire? I'm scared. I'm scared.
This is not good. Brody, break off. That's it, baby. Come to Poppy.
Fox 2, Fox 2.
Oh, good job, H2. We want as many guys out here as possible. Golem 2, what's your status? Status report.
He's a predator.
Golem 2, get a hold of yourself. Golem 2, get away from the enemy.
Mage 2, support! Somebody! Support!
Golem 2, lost.
Shit. Skykeeper, where's the one that got brownie?
I'm afraid he's long gone by now. Sorry. All UAVs have been splashed.
I said what I had to say. About what? Not a girl who'd retreat. Just not in her DNA. That was the right decision at the time. No, I should have never let a fledgling like her out of reach to begin with. Golem Squadron, Maid Squadron, withdraw.
Has all the fucking drones on. It apparently has to be in here.
Runway is clear. H2, you are cleared for landing. 2 miles to runway. H2, lower speed. H2, lower nose, you're too high. 1 mile to runway. Your approach looks good. Stay on course. I knew they'd be back. Stand by for further orders. Be ready for your next sortie.
I think I would make a good jet try.
H Squadron, this is the situation. Golem and the others.
Don't you think?
Unfortunately, the two-front offensive was a failure. The aircraft carrier Kestrel II was sunk during the attack on Farbanti. Carrier-borne aircraft mistakenly bombed urban areas, and this has turned public opinion in neutral countries against us. Our own forces also suffered heavy losses. If it weren't for a few extraordinary fighters, many of us wouldn't have made it home. The situation is grim. We have precious little time, however. We have to get to the space elevator.
Here he comes. Mihai's looking worse. Thank God he has his granddaughters here to help him out. They're sisters, 15 and 10. Engaging the enemy in combat so we could use his physiological data to improve the drones had always taken a toll on Mihai's body. But today, he was really showing his age. The drones we based on his data were being taken down at a faster rate now, compared to when the war began. When Mihai found that out, he insisted on flying to the front lines to see it for himself. Sometimes he could be so stubborn. His age wasn't the only thing affecting his health. Over the years, flying at high altitudes for prolonged stretches of time had ravaged and poisoned his body. But he was a man of grit. Today, after 28 years, he saw combat again. If his flight suit still wasn't good enough to protect him, I can't imagine how many G's he hit today during the battle. As a pilot, he exceeds all our expectations. It's going to take a bit more tweaking before our drones can match his skill.
How penal is this penal unit, you ask? This place is a shithole. If you took the stink of all the corruption in the world, then corralled it all in one place, that would give you a pretty good idea of what the air smells like around here. We got all kinds of critters, too. Everything from flea-ridden guards, rabid dogs, and a mechanic doing a stretch for life. I can't forget the rats. Yeah, we got those. And some pilots who got their wings clipped, too. One's a great pilot, but a lousy thief. One's a gambler with no luck. And one's an anarchist with no balls. Their job here was to rev the engines on the fake runways. The idea was for Aruja's spy satellite to pick up the heat sig. Even though there weren't any real fighters here, it looked like it on their infrared. I bet you're wondering, if Aruja lost the war, how come they still have a spy satellite? Because someone over there was smart enough to train a bunch of computer nerds to hack into half of Osia's satellites. That's how come. Every now and again, I'd try to bust out. And every single time, those damn dogs would drag me right back. When I was in my cell, I'd hear this voice coming from the guards room. It was the Erusian princess rallying her people on the Erusian national broadcast. All us prisoners had become big fans of hers. You want to hear something funny? The guards were big fans too. I swear to God, every time she was on the air, they'd turn up the volume on the radio and sit there listening. I could see how someone like her could win the hearts and minds of soldiers and workers alike. When the princess said something, you could tell she meant every word. Lately, she'd been having more fun with her speeches, and that made her seem even more charming. You could say her charm was like a virus. Whenever she'd point out stuff that was wrong with Osia, the prisoners in here went nuts. Hell, if anyone knew how messed up Osia was, it was the prisoners. They'd shout, "Burn Osia down." No way am I just gonna sit here and rot away in this hellhole. Dark blue. Instead of building fake-ass planes to trick Aruja, I'm gonna build one that'll really take off. You can count on that.
As proved by the failure of our previous strategy, the arsenal birds have bolstered the enemy's anti-air network. This will be difficult to overcome. However, we still need to get swiftly to the space elevator no matter what it takes. Someone there is counting on us. The hero of the Circum-Pacific War and the man who spearheaded the construction of the space elevator. Osia's former president, Mr. Harling. Mr. Harling was inspecting the elevator when the war broke out. He's been classified as missing since the elevator was taken over by the Erusian forces. However, according to the latest intel, a military officer accompanying Mr. Harling hid him inside the facility. Both are waiting for a chance to escape. Enemy anti-air radar network has been set up around the space elevator. It's likely a large squadron would be detected. We will send a single aircraft